Good morning, team. How are we doing today? I just think the world is giving us these incredibly beautiful sunshiny days right now just to give us a bit of joy, don't you? Aren't these days amazing? I am loving it, and I just had to actually pull a curtain because otherwise it is just so bright. And that's always my favourite problem to ever have. Um, so, guys, I just wanted to chat a little bit today. I've got my coffee here, and I just wanted to have a little coffee chat with you guys essentially. Um, I mentioned on um, the weekend about sort of what I do in my place of service, and I just wanted to lean into that a little bit more and give you a bit of an idea of what sort of you can expect over the next few weeks from me, what I'm going to try and give you, and how I'm going to continue serving you over these next few weeks, and also give you a little bit of um, um, a mindset activity at the end that we're going to run through. But essentially, my absolute jam is making health and wellness completely doable in whatever circumstances um, you're in. Being adaptable is just one of my key things that I try and instill into everyone. Being flexible, getting rid of this perfectionism and this feeling like we have to do things exactly this certain way, otherwise, it's not worth doing at all. Um, this always has been my approach and will continue to be my approach for this very reason. Life is so unpredictable, right? We don't know. We get thrown curveballs. This is probably one of the biggest curveballs we've all ever been thrown, and it's times that we're completely uncertain. We don't know. We don't know what's happening. It's sort of taking it a day at a time. But that doesn't mean that everything else in our life has to go on halt. Life is unpredictable at the best of times, let alone at these times. But there's ways that we can find the best in it, and I think that we'll all do really well in these coming days and weeks and months, even if we just really find our own true place of service and really lean into it. And for me personally, I feel like my responsibility and my place here and where I come from, a place of service, is to keep things positive and look for these opportunities and keep your perspectives shifting and keep throwing out different ways that you can look at things and can consider things. Hey Lynette, how are you? Yeah, you guys have just had a big change too. You're almost ahead of us now. Um, and you're right. It's just we're taking it one day at a time, and it's just we need to kind of almost mold our brains in a different way to accept that, because humans essentially are a little bit tricky with change. We don't really like change an awful lot. It's sort of unnatural, it's scary, it's unknown. But it's times like this where we need to kind of lean into this change and embrace it and just kind of get rid of this perfectionism that we carry around with us and kind of just roll with the punches, um, and, you know, make the best of what we can. What I want you to remember is that it's absolutely okay to feel defeated and to feel sad and concerned and uncertain and all of these things. It is so important to feel those. If you feel them, then it's so important to sit with them and to really feel them and to honor them and to be curious about them and to see where these feelings come from and give them some space and give them some time and honor them in that way, and then keep moving. Don't get stuck there, because if we get stuck there and we stop moving, then we become stagnant and it becomes easier to withdraw and easier to kind of backslide essentially. We can all still move forward even when we're feeling defeated and concerned and uncertain. We can still feel grateful. We can still choose to see the good. Um, so while I'm never saying that these feelings are invalid, and it's not you're either this or that, it's very much a spectrum. But while these sort of feelings of fear and uncertainty are not at all invalid, they are so valid and so important. It's in the same breath, it's my responsibility to you, and my place and the way that I serve is to find these positives and find these opportunities, no matter how small they are, and just to keep moving. So I'm what I want you to know is that I'm going to be talking a lot about this side of things, this opportunity and um, flipping perspective side of things and looking at things in a more positive, grateful way. And I'm never discounting while I'm doing this that these things exist, these other feelings exist, and that times are tough. And um, you know, I'm never discounting that, but this is my place of service, this positivity and this bringing these opportunities and helping you to keep moving in these times. That is my place of service. That is what I do. That is how I coach. That is just my jam, and that is how I do what I do. And so that is what I will continue to do for you guys. And I think that's really important because, like I said, I think we'll all do really well if we find our place of service, our thing that we do well, and just really lean into it. We're all so unique, and we've all got something unique to offer the world. And I think if we really lean into our strengths right now and lean into those things that we're good at, then we're all going to learn from each other a whole lot more, and we're all going to get a whole lot more out of these situations and become a whole lot more resourceful from learning from people that are doing incredible stuff in certain spheres. So I also think there's an awful lot of people that are out there to the media alone to create more fear and create more panic, and that's just so unnecessary. So I think I also see my place as a person and an opportunity to keep things fun and bring this light and positivity back into this, and find inventive ways to overcome the hurdles that we're dealing with. And just remember that there's this whole light side of things, and I think that's why I just love the sunshine at the moment, because I think it's such a fantastic metaphor that we're kind of dealing with this really tough situation, but throughout the whole thing the sun still shines, right? So if this isn't what you need right now, if what I'm putting out is not something that you're picking up, or not something that you want to pick up, or if you're feeling like you need to be in a different place right now, then I completely understand. We all need and we all respond in entirely different ways to these sorts of situations. But I want to be really clear with what my intention is over this time, so that you can kind of think whether it fits with you, and whether, in those times where you might need a bit of positivity, a bit of fun, a bit of lightness, that you know that you can come here and that's where you'll find it. So if this isn't what you need right now, then I completely understand, and I will be here for you, essentially, when you feel that need. There's that saying that you sort of, it's hard, or you often don't see the forest for the trees. And I think that's kind of valid here, in that in both aspects. Sometimes, obviously, that saying is about getting so caught up in the details that it's hard to see the big picture. I think that's very valid, and I also think the reverse is very valid. I think sometimes we can get caught up in this big picture, and we forget to look at the smaller things and forget to kind of look at the small details. And with this sort of whole buzz and this fear around it, I think it becomes a really big thing, and we see it from this big worldwide pandemic picture. When if we kind of block a little bit of that out, and we focus a lot smaller on the details and start looking at our day-to-day lives and looking at the things that we can control, and start kind of narrowing our view a little bit into our immediate surroundings, we can find opportunities there as well, and we can find some solace and a little bit of a mindset shift and a little bit of a reprieve from all of this big stuff that's going on. It's big and it's heavy. So I think there's time and space for both of those aspects, for looking at the big picture and sitting back, as well as kind of blocking out some of that and kind of focusing on the smaller details. So there's no right way to do this and no wrong way to do this, and there's no level that's going to be right for everyone, but I think it's just important that we kind of keep this this pulse of kind of big picture and smaller picture kind of things, so we're not ever excluding one side or the other. And I think that's another kind of thing that is really something that I really resonate with, is flux, and is not solely focusing on one thing, not pigeonholing yourself into one area, but remembering to kind of constantly shift and constantly adapt and look at different perspectives and see what you might be missing, and not get too tunnel vision in one way. So those are the sorts of kind of ideas and things that I hope to instill in you and hope to kind of embody over the next little while. And I want to kind of bring that into a daily service for you, in that I would love to come to you regularly on things like this with practical tips, as well as more, I want to use the word esoteric, even though that's probably not quite the right definition, but I want to come at you with some real practical stuff to keep those daily details locked in. And I also want to come at you with some really bigger picture perspective shifts as well. So I hope that I can find a balance and kind of offer you a little bit of each of those over the next few weeks, or forever really, because that's what I do in my job. But specifically in these next few weeks, as we really kind of need it, and as we're kind of using groups like this and pages like this and the internet to sort of feel connected, and to give us some guidance and some insight and some inspiration over these next uncertain times. So on that, I want to start today, and I mentioned a little bit about it over the weekend that I was going to chat about this. I want to dive in with one kind of mindset shift, right? Because we're in this state where we're adapting to new things, and until we kind of know what it feels like, we're still definitely in a state of flux, a state of uncertainty. And like you say, Lynette, we're taking it one day at a time, until we kind of get a firm, we'll be locked down for 2 weeks, or we'll be, sort of a longer term plan. We don't really have that at the moment, so things are changing, and this is the time where we're kind of adapting, and this week, kids are at home, and we're kind of feeling what this feels like for us, and what it looks like, and what it might look like for the next few weeks. So I want to start with a little mindset shift, and a really interesting perspective and idea that I have picked up from various books and things along the way, and has been really, really helpful for me in taking the pressure off and just changing my perspective. So it's this idea between there's sort of two aspects to it. There's you have to do something, and I feel at the moment there's a lot of us that feel like we have to do things, we have to do this, we have to stay inside, we have to work from home, we have to look after the kids, we have to. There's all this pressure on us at the moment. And I just want to run through a few examples of that, and see how you could maybe flip that and look at things a little bit differently. So I'm going to read out a few statements, and I want you to kind of close your eyes if you want, if you're in a safe place, not walking or driving anywhere. Close your eyes and just think how they make you feel. Really feel these statements, and kind of figure out how they make you feel. What feelings come to mind? What words and emotions come to mind? And these are all things that I've heard from you guys and from the public as well. So this is where it's going to get really interesting. Okay, so these I've got 6 statements. I have to have the kids at home. I have to entertain the kids. I have to work from home rather than going into the office. I have to share my space with my husband, wife, partner, flatmate, etc. I have to work out at home because I can't go to the gym. I have to cook more meals at home because I can't go out. I have to eat what foods I can get at the supermarket. If you're watching live, I don't know how many people we've got on live at the moment, but if you're watching live, I'd love you to drop me some comments as to how those make you feel, and what emotions those maybe bring up. If you're watching the replay, then please do as well. I'll be jumping back onto this video and chatting with you throughout the day on your comments as well. So if you're watching the replay, just hit replay, type replay, and then add your comments. But how do those things make you feel? How do those statements make you feel? I have to work from home rather than travel into the office. I have to have the kids at home. For me, I get these feelings of, I'm doing this because it makes me feel restricted. It makes me feel controlled and confined, and makes me feel obligated with these obligations here. And I feel disadvantaged. I have to do this rather than this. And I feel burdened by these things because I have to do them. Now I just want to flip this a little bit, and I want to read these same statements in a different form, simply changing one word, And again, I want you to close your eyes or just listen and see how it makes you feel. I get to have the kids at home. I get to work from home rather than travel into the office. I get to share my space with my husband, wife, partner, flatmate, etc. I get to work out at home. I get to cook more meals because I can't go out. I get to eat whatever foods are available at the supermarket. And how do those statements make you feel in comparison? The idea is that as soon as you make that flip, and to me, those statements make me feel like I'm in control. I get to do these things. It makes me feel a bit more liberated and like there's a possibility and there's a choice. I get to do these things. It makes me feel blessed and fortunate that I get to do these things, because there's a lot of people that don't get to cook meals at home. There's a lot of people that don't get to eat what foods are available at the supermarket. It makes me feel very, very fortunate. So you can see how the exact same situation can be flipped entirely on its head simply by the words that you use in each scenario. And this is just so important, because so often we have this inner monologue that's going, I have to do this, I have to do this. And all that does is just layer this stress upon obligation, upon guilt. And instead if we flip that and say, I get to do these things, while we're doing the same activities that we would be doing, we can look at it in an entirely new light. And this is something that positive thinkers and people that, even homeless, disadvantaged people think, well, I still get to eat food, and I still get to do this, and I still get to be alive, and I still get to, experience the sunrise and the sunset. It's been often shown that it's this shift and this seeing things in a more positive light and the flip side of things that keeps us going and keeps us healthy. So this positive mindset is strongly correlated to better feelings of well-being and therefore lower stress levels and better health. Hey Scott, how are you? Hope you guys are keeping well over there. So in the same thing, I'm just aware that I don't want to go on for too long this morning, but in the same vein, we can do it in a different way with the words must or should versus the words I could or I can or I might. So the same way, think of a few statements. Here's a few statements. You can think about how these make you feel. I must work out daily. I must make the most of it. I must eat healthy. I must come out the other side of this with new, better routines, a better person who's got all these, meditation and read tons of books. I must be positive. And this is even for what the things that I'm sharing with you. So I'm going to be sharing lots of things that are different ways of making the most of what you're doing. But what I don't want you to feel is I don't want you to feel like I'm telling you must do these things or you should do these things. Because again, I'm sure all of those statements made you feel probably obliged and guilty and pressure and stress. And let me read those again in a different way. I could work out daily. I could make the most of this. I could eat healthy. I could come out the other side with new, better routines, having meditated lots and read lots of books. I could be positive. So again, this really, to me, I feel like this obligation is lifted, and it's just suddenly there's all these possibilities. I could do all of these things. It makes me feel like I have the world at my fingertips rather than I have the world on my shoulders. All right, there's a really, really different feeling that comes with those different sort of terms that you use there. So what I want you to do is I want you to be really aware of your thoughts and your words. And if you're saying, I have to do this, or I must do this, or I should do this, try and see if you can stop yourself when you feel yourself using those words and switch that. And even if you're repeating what you've just said, if you said, oh my gosh, I have to do this today, if you catch yourself at the end, stop, repeat the sentence in a new way, rephrase it, I get to do this today. don't just catch it and go, oh, next time I'll try and say it differently. Rephrase it right then and there, and that's how we reprogram our brains in these times and rewire these thoughts and these ideas into our head. Think about these things as you're going through your day to day. I have to do this, I have to do this, we're being told to do this, I have to do this. And switch them out with I get to, or I could, or I might. Take the pressure off yourselves, guys. And this is everything that I talk about and work through with clients, is taking the pressure off yourself, because your health and wellness should not be an extra stress. If it is, you're being counterproductive, right? You're putting more stress on yourself, and the whole idea of health and wellness is reducing stress. So look at these little mindset shifts and see when you use these words, when you use have to, when you use must, when you use should, and really switch those out if you can, and restate them in ways that are a lot more positive. I hope that's been a little bit helpful in finding some ways that you can kind of shift that mindset a little bit. And these things aren't going to happen all in one go. They're not going to happen immediately. They're things that we need to catch ourselves doing, and things that we need to repeat quite regularly. So this is where it comes really important in the beginning of the day, to set your intentions and kind of feel what you might be feeling, feel those obligations, and reword all of those obligations into statements that make us feel better and feel more positive, and more opportunistic rather than burdened. And that can help set us out on our day with an entirely different outlook, which will change our actions throughout the day. It will put us back in the driver's seat and puts us back in control, and gives us that feeling of empowerment rather than burden and obligation. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know some of the things that come up for you, that some of the have-tos and the musts and the shoulds that come up, and what you're rephrasing them with. I'd love to hear the specific things that you guys are dealing with and that you're thinking about at these times. And the more I kind of get to know what you're struggling with, the more I can give you some really tailored advice and some really incredibly specific options and ideas, and work with you to help you kind of come up with those ideas yourself as well. So don't be afraid to vent and let me know what you're struggling with, and just chat it through with me and with the others on here. I mentioned on the weekend that I'd be interested in doing some group sessions. So not live on here, but sort of in a more private group setting. So if anyone is keen for doing that, then please let me know. And I hope that has kind of helped to give you both a different mindset, but also a little bit of an idea of how I plan to serve you over the next few weeks. And I hope that I can provide some value to you over the next few weeks. And just helping to bring some light and some positivity and some fun to this situation, because we all need it. We all absolutely need it. So take care, guys. I'm going to jump back into this sunshine and maybe even get my arms out to get a little bit of vitamin D. Enjoy the rest of your day, whether you're busy or whether you're quiet and don't know what to do. Look for the opportunities is how I'm going to sign off. All right. Cheers, guys. See you tomorrow.